Good morning everyone and welcome to WildSafari Live here in the famous Djuma and Arathusa Game Reserves in Sabi Sand, South Africa. My name's Hayden Turner, I'm with VM on camera and welcome aboard this morning on one of the most incredible journeys, broadcasting live from South Africa right to your very computer or living room, wherever you are. You're on board our vehicle today and it's great to have you on board. If you're a regular participant with us, fantastic, welcome back. Or if you're a newcomer, this is going to be a really great journey for you this morning. Now, it's a bit overcast today, a lot cooler than it was yesterday. I think it's sort of in the early teens in degrees. I'll get the temperatures for you later on and tell you, but that's great for us because predators actually spend a lot more time being active when it's in the cooler times. Just to give you a bit of a recap what happened last night, we left Q, the male leopard, up the top of the hill here with a kudu carcass. Now that kudu carcass was about 4 times his body weight. He wasn't going to be able to hoist that up a tree. He wasn't able to going to take it anywhere. So he ate as much as he possibly could because inevitably there was going to be some friends arriving. Well, not really friends, but these guys behind me. Have a look at this. There's some very full bellies there. This hyena clan is about 500 to 700 metres away from where that kill was last night, and we turned up at this den site this morning. The animals are just looking. One of the cubs has just walked off. He's coming back now, and we turned up this morning, and they quickly dragged the remainder of a carcass, whether it was the kudu or not, but I'm suspecting that it was, down into the hole. So they've had a full belly. They've got a full belly of food. They've brought the remainder back for the cubs, and they're just keeping a close eye on what's going on. There's 2 other cubs around somewhere, which I'm sure will show their faces very soon. We've got this little guy here that is very playful at the moment and messing about with sticks and playing with his mum and so on. So they're just milling about at the moment. But the story unfolds, and Q obviously had his meal last night, and when we got to him, he was still feeding, and we then sat with him for a while until he couldn't eat any more. He then laid down and tried to digest his food, and that's where we left him. So what would have happened is the scent of that carcass, as that scent matured, and I use that in a polite way because it was starting to, it wasn't that an offensive smell, but it was a smell much stronger than you would think. In a few sort of hours, maybe 6 or 7 hours, it became quite apparent that there was a kill there. So these hyena would have picked up on that scent very quickly. Lovely bit of behaviour going here. Beautiful stuff. So it's an interesting situation. The one on the left-hand side there, the adult, if VM just comes across, I think, and I'm only having a guess here because I don't know this clan very well, but is potentially the adults or the son of the female on the right. Female on the right has a very heavy belly. She's eaten so much food. This little guy's coming up really close to us now, VM. Right, passing in front of the car. Having a little bit of an investigation. So I'm sorry I chop and change subjects here, folks, but it's just working with whatever the animal's behaviour is doing. And we really want we tried to position our vehicle before in a way that we could see the animals at all times, but I'm not sure where he's gone. He's so close to the vehicle, he's gone around the other side there. He'll pop his head out at any minute. But I'm not sure of exactly who's who in this clan, because there was a couple of other adult members as well around before, but those pups really do are very high up the pecking order when it comes to care and getting first dibs on things. Here he is. There's he right at the front of the vehicle, just sticking his nose above the vehicle there. Just see him. He's just about to look over the top. But there's 3 of these little guys, and they're really playful when they're here. There's 2 somewhere else over here. We're not going to sort of chase them around the bush or anything like that. We just sit quietly. We sit in a position where we can just observe and let them dictate the moves and move around us. But these females are lying down. I'm sorry, the male and I'm not sure. It's definitely a female, the one closest to us. And I do recognise those ear notches on her right ear from. She had that very distinct one that they would have gotten in either fights or altercations, and they were at another den site a long time back, maybe 7-8 months ago, and they will move den sites as well. You can see very, very full milk glands there, so the pups are still suckling a bit, but she's got a full belly, and her pups actually will probably have a higher ranking than that other individual there. So that's why the mother got up and sort of walked over. It's such a complex social structure with hyena. You really have to sit with one clan and figure out who's related to who, and it is a very, very tricky situation just to turn up and try and figure it out. But you know what, with enough time and enough exposure to the animals, you start to learn, you start to see. You'll see what happens when this youngster goes over there. So too, all these vocalizations and growls and copy. We've got a question from Misha in Washington. Misha, welcome aboard. Great to have you with us. And Misha is wanting to know whether we do any hand feeding of hyena here, because there's other parts of Africa that she knows that they do. Misha, we would never under any circumstances feed an animal here. Just to let you know, this is a wildlife reserve that the balance has to be perfectly managed by the animals themselves, because this area is connected to Kruger National Park and the fences were taken down some time ago. There's a very, very good passageway and corridor for these animals to traverse, so there's no need whatsoever. As soon as man or humans start to intervene with things like that, Misha, you will get problems. You'll get problems that they'll probably end up feeding them things that they shouldn't be being fed, and the second thing is that you're starting to break down that human-animal barrier that is absolutely necessary so accidents don't occur. Once you start to have an animal that gets conditioned to human beings and doesn't have that invisible fear barrier, you start to get accidents happening, either with tourists, either with staff that work in lodges, or potentially employees of out on game drives or whatever it may be. but it's completely against the ethics and morals of all the good private reserves and national parks, completely against the rules to feed any animal. So hopefully that answers your question, Misha, and it's for a very, very good reason. As soon as you break down that barrier, you're starting to put the animal's life in danger by really just taking that chance that it could get into a conflict situation with a human, and then humans will have to intervene in another way, which is sadly happening all over the world. Animals in the wild, Misha, I think I just want to add a little bit more to this, because it's a subject very close to my heart. Animals look after themselves, and it's only when humans come into contact with animals that we have problems, and we really do have to manage that. We are responsible for having good conduct and good morals and good ethics, and I really, really push that home, that that's the way we should behave when we're in national parks or private reserves. And no matter who wants to get a photograph, or who wants to get a picture, or who wants to get closer or whatever, the animals' lives and the animals' welfare comes first and foremost always. So hopefully that's answered your question, Misha. Do we feed these in Hyena or anywhere on the reserve? The answer is a categorical no, and it will never happen, just for those reasons that I mentioned. But really interesting question, Misha, and thank you very, very much. So we've got a nice question from Maggie in Vancouver, but I do have to say this is quite a beautiful picture. This little guy, this little cub is like lying there looking absolutely fantastic, isn't he? Maggie in Vancouver has just brought up a really good point. I did notice it before myself, Maggie, and I'll try and get VM to find some pictures of it. You've noticed that one of the cubs has got a little scrape or a little abrasion to his right, I think it is, hind quarter, and it's a little tiny graze or something like that. He might have had either an altercation with one of his brothers or sisters, which definitely does happen, or he might have just had an injury out whilst having a bit of a play, but it does look like a little bit of a bite or something like that. We'll try and get a picture of it. Not sure if it's this one up here, VM, or I think this might be this little guy lying down, but
the bigger one.
It's the bigger one there, is it? So the one up at the stick there chewing, he's we'll try and get some images of it now for you. I think it'll heal itself, Maggie. I don't think it's anything to worry about. These animals are incredibly tough, and I think it's just a very, very minor superficial wound that will heal, no problems. But thank you for your question, Maggie, and they go through some pretty tough times, these little cubs. It's interesting, even in when they're only hours old in the den, and their mother's given birth to them, they will start to compete ferociously for dominance. It's absolutely extraordinary what happens in that den with Hyena, to the point where one Hyena pup can take another one's life at a very, very early age down there, to compete for dominance and compete for being the successful cub that's raised. And sometimes it's quite difficult for the adult, if the pups have gone down into a smaller den site, maybe another tunnel that hasn't been dug out as much as as the other ones, and the mother can't get down, there's pretty much nothing she can do except let them fight it out down there. There's been great data collected on that. Here's another little pup coming out of the den. Excuse me. So if you've got any questions, folks, please, you can tweet us at #SafariLive, or you can send us an email at questions@wildearth.tv, and we'll be more than happy to answer them. It's a very complex social system, as I said, and if I don't know the answer, I'll definitely ask everyone out there to give me a hand, because I'm learning constantly about hyena. The more time you spend with them, the more things you learn about them, and particularly this clan. The behavioural side of things, one can learn and do lots of reading and watching on, but the structure of particular clans, and as I'm not super familiar with this clan, I do think the female is the same female I saw 7 months ago, but these puppies weren't here when I was here 7 months ago. So any information that anyone has on this clan would be fantastic. Always helps me out, and that's what Wild Safari Live's all about, helping each other out, being on this journey together, and sharing as much information we can about these wonderful creatures. Yeah, that's a little guy there. It's got a little wound on his back there. VM's got it right in shot there. We'll try and get it again. Maggie, it does look very superficial. I think it'll be fine. So I think the theory is that these two little pups that we can see together here are the matriarch's pups. These belong to the sister of potentially the matriarch, the alpha female. Sorry, is probably a term that we should use there. And then the one with the little wound on his, just up there, on his tail, on his hindquarters, is the matriarch's pup, or the alpha female's pup. So it's quite a complex thing. Sometimes they will do this communal den situation, and other times there's a communal den situation that occurs, but there's no communal care, so to speak. So it's not like one pup's mum's going to look after the other pups, but they might share a den, and they often change from den to den if the parasitic infestation in the den gets too high. So if parasites become unbearable down in that den, ticks and other things, fleas and things, they will actually move dens and wait for that parasitic infestation to die out, and then potentially go back to another den and move around. But it just depends on so many different factors. These animals are very habituated to us. We've been coming here on and off for many moons, and as you can see, they're in no way are they affected by our presence. They're completely relaxed. The pups are playing, the parents or the adults are just lying there resting, and it's a very, very nice situation to be in, to be able to watch this behaviour. So this is potentially the mother, I'd say, of those two pups. Excuse me. So we've got a question from Sherry in Ohio about how many sets of teeth do the hyena have. Well, they're actually born with milk teeth, Sherry, which is pretty incredible. They don't grow through like some animals do. They're born with milk teeth, and they can use those milk teeth in a very aggressive hold on the back of the neck on one of their rival siblings from a very young age. And then once they lose those milk teeth, they get their next teeth. I'm not sure exactly what time they lose those milk teeth, Jerry, so unfortunately I can't give you that answer, but maybe someone could help me with that. I'm not sure at what age hyena lose their milk teeth, but I know they are born with a pretty good set of milk teeth and can use them ferociously on one of their siblings to assert dominance. So Sherry, hopefully that answers part of your question, and maybe some of our participants could help me on that to find out at what time in a cub's growth do we lose the milk teeth and get our next set. Thank you, Sherry. Fantastic question, because I learned something from this as well. We've got a question from Tamara in Shawnee. Tamara's asking, are the pups old enough to eat meat? They definitely are old enough to eat some meat, but they'd still be suckling, and it varies hugely on parental care and how the pups are. They're weaned they start, it takes several months, and after about a year, there's these incredible tantrums that occur when the mother won't give them any more milk, and actually embarrassingly funny tantrums, I suppose you could say. When you watch them, they really do throw their toys out of the cot, so to speak, and you find these little cubs, having these tantrums when their mother won't give them any more milk. But yes, they're definitely okay to be eating meat now. You can see the dominance behaviour here of this particular individual in the middle. He's the older one, and he's definitely throwing his weight around at the moment on these two younger ones. So Tamara, so hopefully that answers your question. Are they old enough to eat meat? They definitely are. Some of them were down in the den when we were just starting to go to air this morning, and they were just having a meal down there, because we definitely saw them drag part of the carcass down into the den when we arrived. So that was perfect timing. That we do know that, you know, putting two and two together and only being 500 metres away, Q had that kudu kill. We're pretty sure that's going to be part of that kudu. Liam's doing a fantastic job of tracking these pups at the moment. We might just watch this little bit of play because it's quite fun. They're chasing each other around. But there may be more to what we're watching at the moment as well. That slightly older male to the alpha female might be asserting dominance. It might look like a bit of play, but it could be there could be a little bit more in it. So it's an interesting, probably one of the most interesting social structures of all the carnivores. They're very, very tight-knit, but they compete more and cooperate less, I suppose you could say. It's a very, very interesting thing to watch. And once you sit down and watch these clan members interact, they're all a bit quiet at the moment with very, very full bellies of food. But when you see other individuals, particularly adults, come, there's a complete ritualized greeting. The alpha female is in charge, and everyone underneath her will do this incredible sort of begging towards her, and lots of ritualized behavior as they arrive. And then but her pups have first and foremost sort of hierarchy in the pecking order. They really do. They're the only ones that will probably go out with her. Other cubs will fall back and wait by the den, and at about a year they'll probably start to go out with her, and they get first pickings. They're running through the bush up there. It's quite dangerous play, actually. A predator could take them at any point. But you do have a pretty serious force. You've got one of the mothers just on the right, you can still watch the pups, but I'll tell you what's going on with the parents. She's watching carefully what's going on. Yes, my girl. So she's going down, just looking to see if she can get any of that food. There's a little bit of food down in that hole. I'm not sure she's going to bring it out or whether she's going to try and eat it down there. There's either two reasons why she's standing there. A, she can't get down inside that den and the pups have dragged it too far down. Or B, she's just surveying the land at the moment. Billy Joe is asking a question in Florida. Hi Billy Joe, great to have you with us. There's some lovely behaviour going on here at the moment. The pups are really playful and all over the parents. But Billy Joe, your question, is the correct term to refer to the youngsters pups or cubs? And the correct term is cubs. Long debated, but definitely cubs is what you refer hyenas to. It's an interesting one. Hyenas are more cat-like than they are dog-like. So the general consensus scientifically is we've referred to them as cubs. And they are in a family all of their own. Thank you very much, Billy Joe, for your question. It's a question that I often slip up because you'll hear me sometimes say the pups. One would think that it's just because they have a sort of dog-like quality to them, but it's definitely, the terminology is cubs when you're talking about hyena offspring, hyena young. So the other thing is to remember that males don't play any parental role in this, and they're very rarely allowed near the den site. You'll find mothers will often chase them off, the alpha female will often chase them off. And I think we came up here the other night and we saw a male turn up, and one of the young cubs take on this male, went into him, started to lay into him, bit him and started to tear into his leg. And this was a young cub of the alpha female, and the male did nothing. It's really, really interesting. Just another vehicle leaving, folks. So males are not tolerated around the den, and the young cubs have the audacity, I suppose is the word, to give them a really, really serious warning to stay away, and the mother will support that, and the males that do arrive would under no circumstances dare to touch that cub, or they'd have the wrath of the alpha female on them, which could end up in a conflict, which then heightens the risk of injury, and it goes on and on and on. So it's very interesting, and you learn more and more the more you watch hyenas, and particularly in this fantastic situation we're in right now. We're very privileged to be here. Excuse me. these females might be closely related as well. Nice thing to excuse me, nice thing to note is no matter how close they are, they won't cross-suckle either. They will only look after their own young. Complex, interesting, successful hunters and scavengers, and definitely don't deserve the historical sort of tag or persona that they've been given. They are absolutely fantastic animals and play a huge role in the habitat and the ecology of the area. And off they walk. So they might have gone for a little wander. I suppose we should go for a little wander. That was quite a beautiful, beautiful time with those hyena. Very, very complex, and you know, hyena scientists that spend their whole scientific career studying hyena are learning more and more about hyena. All these little tiny intricacies that they have to observe over thousands of hours of data collection. And that's one thing we have to do, folks, as well, as tip our hats to the scientific community of the world that give us all this information that we sort of not take for granted, but we deliver to you. It's all things that we've read or we've heard or we've talked to scientists, and we're re-delivering that information. Some of the things that we may have observed ourselves, of course, in the wilds, but you know, the scientific community we have to take our hats off to them hugely, because there's thousands of hours of hard work. It's this, everyone sort of thinks it's a romantic thing about being out in the African bush, but they sweat it out, they carry their gear into the bush, they sit, they watch for hours and hours and hours, and sometimes there's nothing happening, but they collect their data, they write up their papers or their PhDs or whatever it is, their studies, and they serve that up to us on a platter. We're very, very privileged. So the hats off to the scientific community out there giving us all that beautiful information. You're amazing people. Right, I think we're going to go for a little drive. So I'm just going to have a little look around some of the old haunts here. Easy access. We've got a good thing up our sleeve, and that is this temperature, folks. It's definitely cool enough for predators to be active much later. I like that sometimes. I do love those early morning beautiful sunrises and the heat, of course, but I really enjoy these cooler mornings. BM just heard an alarm call. An alarm call of an impala down here. Just listening.
It's probably just right.
Yeah. Sometimes the bark of the impala, the alarm call of the impala, if you're driving, I'm just watching our aerial here, folks. Okay, we're good. Say hi-bye to our hyena family or clan. I love that term, clan. It's a really great term. It sounds really prehistoric and natural that these guys live in a clan and they look after each other. Well, they work together as a team. But as I said before, tight-knit, but probably the least cooperative compared to wild dog. When wild dog, they have this incredible submissive begging that is quite over the top sometimes to watch. They would prefer to lessen the risk of injury by this completely over exaggerated begging that they do to each other, whereas these guys will definitely hook into each other. A lot of injuries occur. Sibling rivalry, as I mentioned before, is high, and there's a mortality rate of about 25% actually in sibling rivalry within the den. So you've got a good chance that, I mean, 2 or 3 cubs might be born and only one might survive. It's very, very common. I'm just going to go down this dip here, little tiny dip, but I'm going to head back up on the quarantine and just have a little look around there. I think it's highly unlikely. Sorry, just really, those bumps always get out of gear just there. Just rearranging our stuff. Just want to have a little look up on the quarantine area and around. I'm going to turn my game drive radio back on as well. Up, I mean. Got a lovely question from Rita in Joburg. Hello, Rita. Goodness me, I could throw a stone and probably you'd catch it from where we are. Well, not really. But it's great to have you watching here in your home country, and how lucky you are, Rita, to have this magnificent country as your homeland. I feel greatly privileged to be here. Rita, your question is, can I update you on what happened to Q and his kill last night? Well, Rita, we left Q at about 6:30, and he'd had a full belly of food, and he was consuming as much as he possibly could. His consumption was probably accelerated due to the fact that he couldn't get that kill up into a tree because it was just too big. Probably about 3 to 4 times his body weight. So there's no way he could get it up into a kill up a tree. So he consumed as much as he could. We left him feeding and then came back, and we predicted this, and it's probably not rocket science, but we knew that the hyena at some point would be going to find that. The scent was very, very close, only about 500 meters, about 1,500 feet from where he is, where the hyena were. So we went straight to the hyena den, and I saw a piece of carcass. I couldn't tell what it was because they dragged it into the den just as we got there. But then Pieter went up to see where Q was, and there was nothing. So there was a massive feast there. Probably I'd put money on that it was hyena, and they completely finished the carcass, and Q was gone. So Rita, just before you're going to work, I thought you'd give you that update. Have a great day at work, and hopefully you'll be able to catch up with us later on when you come back home tonight. And thanks so much for your question. Just listening to the Game Drive channel, folks. Please excuse me. We've got new radios being implemented right throughout the reserves. So at the moment it's a handheld radio like this, and we just want to listen to what's going on. I turn it down when we're broadcasting most of the time, but just a great thing to get any updates. Stefan, do you copy? Just calling Steph to see what he's up to. Texan, do you copy? I'm just calling up some of the guides, folks, to see if there's any... Morning, Tex. Any updates?
Negative, no update so far. Was just only that missing car was active out of that router.
Okay, Tex, thank you for that. We left Hyena and there's no one on lock there.
Okay, copy that, thank you.
Okay, so Tex, Tex is one of the guides on Juma one of the fantastic guides that helps us out so much, as do all the guides for that matter. Amazing, amazing people, bringing you in on a sighting when possible. So I'm just going to have a little look around these roads here. We might go right around this section here, and then we might head down to Viatella Dam and see what we get there. So Chris has just asked on Twitter, hi Chris, great to have you with us, mate. Really nice to have you always. And Chris is asking, you want to know whether we only have one vehicle out? Well, it's very true. Jigger is just having a little bit of work done, and Pete and all the tech crew are just fine-tuning a few little things at the moment. Peter did go out. We were going to cross to him earlier, but there was a little hiccup. And as you can imagine, the vehicles get worked very, very hard on a daily basis. 6 hours a day, both of these vehicles work, and some. We maintain them highly, but you're always going to get in this sort of terrain a tiny little glitch now and again, and that's why we've got this incredible tech team here that do all this work and keep these vehicles going for us. So Pete will be out pretty soon, and I'll give you the heads up on that always. But at the moment, I'm riding solo. So as we're just sort of tootling around here, looking at just beautiful colours, folks. Have a look at that, just that sky there, that gorgeous grey sky, and magical bands of grey and all different colours there with the foliage. I find that just as beautiful as an African sky as the ones that we see with beautiful colours and sunsets and things like that. I think that's a really nice contrast. If you've got questions, folks, please feel free to shoot them away to us. You can tweet us on #SafariLive, and you can email us at questions@wildearth.tv. You can ask anything. It doesn't have to be potentially about hyenas now, because we're not with them. It can be about myself, VM, anyone in the crew, any questions about the vehicles or general questions, please feel free. We're more than happy to answer them, and that's what we do on a game drive. Normally, people would ask the team, anyone, the guides or anything, questions about themselves. Completely up to you, and we love to hear from you.
I've relocated the quarantine with the number under the tree, just close to where he was yesterday.
Sorry folks, I'm just listening to the radio.
Legs coming. Okay.
Just listening, folks.
Sorry, Lex, I missed which animal that was.
We're just listening to the radio. Lex is onto something. And this is what it's all about. We share this, as I always tell you. I know that a lot of you are going to be out there going, this is fantastic, because we've always wanted to hear what's on the Game Drive channel. sometimes it's very hard to understand, so you can imagine what we hear in our ear.
Yeah, it is quarantine. Copy that, yeah. Confirm still 7 hours. Another young.
Sorry, folks.
Yeah, same place as yesterday, just a little bit further east from where he was.
We've got quarantine.
Copy that, thank you.
Lex, come in for Hayden. Texan, do you copy?
Yeah, standing by.
Texan.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Texan. Appreciate that, mate. I'll be on standby for you there. Okay.
Okay, I'll give you guys a call when I get close. I'm at Beverly Circle.
Copy that, copy. Okay, right. We have a plan. I like it when we have a plan. I also like it when we don't have a plan. So, at the moment, it looks like Q, our male leopard, is at the same location, but a little bit further east. So, Lex has just given us an update there. We're going to make our way there. We're not far from there, and I think we're going to be probably the second vehicle on location. I know there's so many of you out there going, that's fantastic, we just heard the whole conversation, because I've received many a tweet or many an email or a Facebook message from people saying, oh, I wish we could hear the other end of what's going on. And I always explain to people that the only reason we don't have that going is because it's very, very difficult to hear through the microphones if we've got the radio traffic, the radio discussion going on, and these microphones pick it up when we're trying to talk. So we're trying to minimize that confusion by having our earpiece in, but that's the sort of thing we hear through the radio. We hear that constantly. It can be very distracting. You have to try and learn to talk at the same time as hear that in your ear, and it can make your brain go a little bit cuckoo after a while. But we get it, we do it, and we get there in the end. So fantastic. So I did mention questions, of course. Absolutely fantastic if you want to send them through. It's great to talk to you, and that's what Wild Safari Live is all about. Interacting with you live in the African bush, and we really, really love getting any interaction with you that you would like. So also remember, just while we let me think about the best way to go here. Yeah, we'll go down here. I took my jacket off before thinking it was going to warm up a bit, but when you start driving, it's a little bit on the cool side. I'll get the temperatures for you at some point, but it is a little bit cool this morning. Again, great for us. Great for us because predators are going to be a little bit more active and a bit more active longer, I suppose is what I'm trying to say. And those hyena there in front of us, just there, used to have a den back down over here to my right. So they do move around those dens. just a reminder as well, we do have 2 fireside chats on this weekend, Saturday and Sunday night, 5:30 till 6 o'clock on our sunrise drives. So really hope you can join us for those. We've got some great things in store, and if you want more information you can go on to the WildEarth.tv Facebook page and find out more about what's going on there. We want to get some questions from you, and we want lots of things from you. Always, we want you to be involved. That's what this is all about. You can get more information on our Facebook page there at WildEarth.tv. So, some of the best news that I've had this morning, other than that we've found Q again, is that Mr. Pretorius and the Jigger are back on the road. They're just pulling out now, and once they're online, and everything's all tickety-boo, I'll cross over to Pete and we can say good morning to him. I'm sure he's really looking forward to saying good morning to you. Lovely little impala herd there, which we'll come back and see. But I just want to get up there and not waste any time away from our leopard, if we can. Yeah, that leopard is, you know what my thoughts are about that leopard. Oh goodness, there's a giraffe there as well. Oh, well, that's really good to know. Right, what we'll do is we'll cross to Pete. I know where that giraffe is. Let's go and see what Pete's up to, and I'll come back to you just now. See you soon.
Guys, my massive apologies. I thought I'm plugged in, but I see I'm not. But I tell you what, we just got some very exciting news. Sorry, I think this was plugged in there. Thanks, Andrew. Good morning. I'm sure you've had a great morning so far with Hayden. Lots of things happening. The Jigger's up and running again, and we just got a very exciting bit of information, which I think almost no one knows about yet. So I'm not going to tell you either. Pardon me if I'm going a little bit fast, but I am very excited about what we might see. So I'm going to tell you about it when we see it. My name is Pieter Pretorius. Thank you for joining us here in the Lowveld, Sabi Sands Game Reserve at Djuma. And it's going to be an awesome morning. Andrew's behind the camera. And we are live on safari. And as we're just going to learn again shortly, anything can happen. Fantastic activity with those hyenas earlier, and very good news as well that we found out that Q seems to be around still, so that's really cool. He's kept some of that meat, the hyenas took some of it or most of it. Lots of activity in the bush. Guys, maybe if you want to ask something or talk to us a little bit, always do so on Twitter, #SafariLive, or you can also to send us questions on questions@wildearth.tv. Sorry, apologies if you can hear me so well. We are busy sorting that out. Sure, it will be perfect shortly. And I don't want to build this up too much because sometimes, you know, there's a little surprise in your plan and it doesn't turn out, because after all, we must remember that we are in the wild. Things are happening live as we speak. You know pretty much as I know what's going to happen next, except for this little surprise. But so I don't want to promise anything because anything can happen, but I wouldn't leave that seat if I was you. I'm particularly excited because, I mean, I've been seeing Kunuma quite a few times, that young leopard male, which I refer to as my favorite leopard deer often, because he certainly is my favorite male leopard deer. But I have ultimately one favorite leopard in this area and one favorite leopard alone. And that's the Queen of Juma. It would be amazing if we could see her. And maybe even know where she's at. You know, there's been some speculation. She might be pregnant, she might be not. Is she going to have cubs? Is she not? I think we might know more about that as well. So who knows? Let's see what happens. If anything, maybe nothing happens. That's also possible. Although I don't think I've ever done a 3-hour game drive in the bush when nothing happened. Warthogs, little family of them. Guys, but I do want to look around here a little bit and come back to those guys just now. There's some impalas in the background. Hear each other clearly, and as I said, dangerous to preempt something, but I would be looking around very, very carefully if I was you right now. Running there. Check the other side of this area. We're at sandy patch at the moment, which a lot of great memories thinking back to this area, sandy patch. This is basically this little clearing we can see on our right hand side, looking towards the sort of west, southwest. I don't know, guys, just a bit of chat and talking going on there in with you guys. Wondering if the cameraman sometimes gets a bit seasick when we're traveling fast. Andrew, how are you feeling?
Not at all, eh? Not at all.
You feeling good?
Feeling good.
All right. All good. Look
Sometimes
around
gets
carefully.
a bit cold, but that's about it.
Look around carefully. Somewhere. There's the tracks. Fresh tracks. Oh, yes! Amazing, guys! Wow! Unbelievable. Thank you guys for leaving a couple of tracks on the road there. They were on the road a few minutes ago. And you'll hear me saying they. And let me show you why we're saying they. Let me find a better place here. Amazing. Whoa, this is even better. Sorry, I was expecting different leopard. I was expecting Karula, and this has now really got me curious. Because that, by the look of things, and I'll confirm it just now, that looks like Shadow to me in the cub. Shadow and the youngster, the one that we're getting suggestions for a name for Mother's Day Drive, where we're going to announce it. So guys, if you haven't heard, you can send in suggestions for a name for Shadow's youngster. That looks like two of them to me. It's just a bit of a tricky space to get up here. Luckily we do have the best vehicle in the world for it. Just give me a second guys, this is amazing. As I said, I was expecting my favorite leopard, called Karula. That looks to me like Shadow. Hold on. I am so in love with these vehicles. Guys, everyone that's worked on them and built them, technical guys, everyone, best vehicle in the world. I cannot think of a better vehicle in the whole world that I'd rather be driving. If you gave me a Bugatti Veyron, I'd still choose this one. Guys, this is amazing. Yo. Hold on, slowly, we're just gonna go around a little bit. Shadow and her young cub, he's 7 going on 8 months. This is awesome. Absolutely awesome. Let the game drives know.
1, 2.
Sorry guys, we are using a handheld at the moment, just to explain. All stations, update, we have Shadow and Mampimpan, Moonclare visual, just a little bit east from Sandy Patch. As I mentioned just now, keep in mind we are building up to picking a, let's call it a WildEarth name for this cub. That's the mother, Shadow. I know there's been suggestions already and we're going to reveal the name Sunday during the fireside chat. Just something I want to drop in there, and I don't actually know the name for it. I will find out still, but very interesting. The other day when we saw them, we've been so lucky. I mean, this is not even, what, 4 days later and we're seeing them again. That time that we saw them, they had killed, apart from the food that they were eating, that little steenbok I think it was, they had also killed a serval, which is very, very rare, and to have seen it, or not the kill, but the serval carcass is something that might be worthwhile remembering. Oh, happy days for these leopard. Perfect weather for leopard this morning. Nice and cool. Nice place to rest. Guys, I just want to give me 2 seconds, but I'm going to tell you everything about these cats again. But I just want to make sure the game drives know and that I can switch my radio off because it's beeping a bit. Guys, just update again. Shadow and Mampimpan, Lalapanzi and Sinya, very close to Sandy Patch, just to the east. My radio will be off, but you can just pull in. You will see me from Gowrie, from Boyatilla access. All right. So as I mentioned earlier, the original news I had, I thought this was going to be Karula, because we're sort of in Karula's area now. Karula, funny enough, is you could say the grandmother to this little guy we're looking at now, because he's the cub of Shadow, the female that's obviously lying to the left here, and she's the daughter of Karula. So a little bit of a family history here as well. For me, this is now 4th generation, if you go back all the way to the lineage of of Safari. Safari is Karula's mother again. All of the females I just mentioned, Safari, her daughter Karula, her daughter Shadow, who we're sitting with, they've all grown up in this area, were born here, grew up here, and great to see her back in the area. This is also her first cub that she's raising successfully so far. Obviously keeping in mind there's a certain amount of skill with raising any young anything, whether it's a leopard or a human or a bird. But a lot of skill involved, but also a little bit of luck, and very excited to see what happens with this young guy over the next few months, and well, next year and a half or so, up to about 2 years at least, he will stay around the area still. That tail tip just twitching. Wonder what he's dreaming about. Now he's at an age now where she will be starting to teach him more and more about hunting and those kind of activities as well. Up to now he would have been mostly hidden away, and then once she's made a kill, she would go fetch him and then hide him again a few days later, normally at a warthole. That's what Karula always did. But more and more often now you will actually see these two moving around together, because she will be taking him along to learn the ways of the wild. Sometimes joining her on the hunt. Also, she might hide him close to where she's hunting. There's some impala not far from here, those warthogs we saw as well. If she catches something small enough that she can easily sort of handle it without killing it, she will even bring it back to him and then let it go so that he can practice that as well. So it's a real sort of learning curve the next 18 months in terms of hunting. There she is, look at that. Oh, she's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful cat. Beautiful face. I know that it's something many of you will find very exciting, but the fact that we're going to be announcing a name for this young guy is very exciting, and also the fact that we're actually giving everyone a chance to take part in it. Let me just explain a little bit around that. This male will leave this area when he's about 2 years old, go somewhere else. We don't even know where he's going to go. So this is a name that we will use while he's around, while we can see him, and you could be the one that gets to choose it. You must just send those names in to us the normal way that we communicate. Hashtag Safari Live to tweet, questions at wildearth.tv if you want to email. Please remember that with the name suggestion, if there is a meaning to it, then meaning is important. If it is in another language than English, well, whatever language really, the meaning of the name is very important. And also please give us your name and where you're from, because remember, at the fireside chat at the end of drive on Sunday, on Mother's Day, we'll be revealing not only the name of the leopard, what it means, but also who was the person that came up with it. So very, very sort of fun experience here for all of us to be part of, but how lovely to see this. Look, Colleen. So glad you could be here for this beautiful morning. Look at that. Oh, I have to pinch myself sometimes when I sit at places like this. Remind myself that it's not a dream, that it's just happening right now as we speak. Colleen, you're just wondering what would happen if they bumped into Kunuma, or Q for that matter. Very interesting, actually. I mean, keep in mind, those are still young leopard, the two males we're talking about, Kunuma or Q. They would be at least half brothers, because Shadow has got a different father than Mvula. I think, if I remember correctly, back then it was Mafufanyan who was still the dominant male around here. Big male leopard. He was eventually pushed out by Mvula. But they have the same mother. Now, they don't necessarily know that. I don't know, maybe they do. I mean, maybe they can see each other, just, maybe they can recognize each other in their spots. But, Colleen, no, it's most likely that they will just try and avoid each other as call it the first prize. If they were to bump into each other, I would think that these two would rather avoid, try and avoid each other as call it the first prize. If they were to bump into each other, I would think that these two would rather avoid try and avoid each other as call it the first prize. If they were to bump into each other, I would think that these two would rather avoid. There's the perfect case in point right in front of us. I would have not expected to see them here. Their tracks yesterday, we saw her tracks far to the sort of southwest from here, all the way towards Aratuza airstrip, almost Aratuza access road, and the tracks were heading in the opposite direction from where these guys are. There were also other tracks in this area of a male yesterday and another female who we presume to be Karula. So still not impossible that there might be another leopard or two leopards within the close proximity here, but that you won't know until it happens. These guys are like shadows and ghosts in the bush sometimes. Well, how spoiled are we today? Not only are we sitting here with two leopard, let's just see what happens here. Just about to go and join HT for another surprise. Let's just see what these two are getting up to. Oh, beautiful when they move, and especially with the females, you get that sense of cat even more so than with the male leopard, just because they're a little bit sleeker, a little bit slimmer. To see that young one, maybe he's going to hunt mum a little bit. His tail is twitching like he's in a playful mood. Let's see. Oh, look at that. I thought for a second he's gonna hunt mum. Beautiful young guy, this. Certainly looks like mum a little bit. He's got to wriggle his way through those twigs and branches there. Awesome. Morning, Lex, please pull in.
Two.
Folks, this is a very, very interesting situation here. Goodness me, we are absolutely spoilt for choice at the moment. This is incredible. We are sitting here with Q, and he has just, oh, goodness me, it's hard, my excitement's so high at the moment. This hyena just turned up to get a little bit of carcass, and the hyena, just track down to the left please, VM. I'm sorry folks, I'm directing VM here. There's a hyena just walking off with part of that kudu, and definitely scavenged a fantastic morsel there, and is one happy hyena. But up our tree we have the man of the moment, and that is Q, who the story just unfolds even more. We all said that he wouldn't be able to take it up the tree. Well, he hasn't taken the carcass up the tree, that's for sure. He's taken the remnants of it up there, but overnight that kudu that he actually brought down yesterday has been devoured by hyenas, and he's been hanging around, and he waited and he waited and he waited for the right opportunity when the hyenas' bellies were too full, and he sure enough came back and got the remainder of his carcass. I'm just going to reposition ourselves here to get that branch out of the way for VM, because it is quite a beautiful shot. Now, he hasn't chosen a huge tree, I must admit. He's chosen a tree that was probably just the best access for him. That was probably just the best access for him. I also don't want to go right underneath him, of course, but it's okay, my boy. It's okay, buddy. It's okay, my boy. Can you see there, V? I know you've got a branch right across in front of you, but I can't go any closer, folks, because it's at risk. But he's just treated himself by a hyena that walked onto him, and as I said, it's not an incredibly huge tree. It's not a very comfortable tree either. But he has taken the remainder of his kudu carcass up this tree, and boy, you got to hand it to him, eh? He's really tried to hold on to this. I can only imagine, what happened at this carcass last night. It must have been like a Shakespeare drama. It was there was Q, he had the kill, and the hyenas turned up and probably pushed him off, and then they've had their belly full, and then we went down to see them. We saw half of their carcass, the carcass get dragged into the den. We've come up to where the carcass was. We got the tip-off from Lex and Texan to come up, and sure enough, here we find Q with the remainder of the carcass up the tree. It's quite an extraordinary story, guys. Oh, hang on a second. Second thought there. They're really the little telltale sign for me. Telltale. Look at that. There's a little funny joke for you guys. Excuse the pun. Is that that little landing strip? Those parallel 4 or 5 dots that Brent and I had a discussion about the other day. It's one of the distinctive markings that you can't always see it, of course, when you're looking at Q, but when you do see it, you know that it's him. It's an absolutely fantastic story that's unfolding here over our heads. We've got vultures flying. We've got what else can we see? Kites. We saw a battle air eagle flying over before. It's just fantastic. Scavengers aplenty. And how spoilt are we, folks? Now we've got not just one leopard, but we've got 3 leopards here on Wild Safari Live. We've got Shadow and her cub. We've got our beautiful boy Q here. I don't know what to do. Let's switch back to Pete and see what he's up to, because guess what? There's more leopard action.
Look at that, just walking along the log there. Shadow on the right hand side there, the young one following along. Just going to go around a little bit. We've got another vehicle with us as well, just to give them a window. Oh, this is stunning. Try and get in front of them a little bit. Yo. No, they're not hunting, but they sort of, they are hunting. Guys, look at this. There's some kudus right in front of us. Let me just go a little bit forward and so we can get a view of both of them. There are the kudus. Ah, there's the alarm call now. Unlike you, we've just been with as well, that Hyena taking some food there. He actually killed a young, well, a grown but young kudu female yesterday. Now he's a male, a bit bigger as well. This would be a bit big for her or the cub. I mean, the cub is still too young. But they're actually almost avoiding the kudu. Look at that, walking around. actually turned 90 degrees to the way they were heading. This is just... Look at the behavior of the kudu there. Let's just have a look at this quickly. Very alert. Look at the ears, the posture, the whole body language is saying that there's something in the grass. You need to keep an eye out on them. Now, the kudus won't be too concerned. They would even see that this leopard is not a very big leopard, and I think for that reason they would rather keep an eye on the leopard. You know, better you know where it is than you don't know. Anna Marie, hello. Anna Marie, you were just wondering now if we think that young leopard might have made a kill. You know, cats are amazing, and he's only about 7 going on 8 months old. In fact, if someone could confirm the exact age for me, those of you that know these leopards very well, that would be great. But yeah, I would say there's a chance that he's made a kill. Look at her posture, huh? Very alert, very aware, keeping an eye on the leopard. That's what she's doing at the moment. So if you're ever driving in the bush and suddenly you see a kudu with that kind of posture, I mean, you can see that this is not a kudu just busy sort of looking for breakfast. You can see that there's an awareness and alertness there. And if you see that, stop and look around, because if the kudu looks like that, she's seen something. We now know it's a leopard, obviously, because we're here, but always look at other information as well. Don't just drive around looking for a leopard. Listen to the birds, look at the animals, look at their body language, you know. Read this sort of newspaper, listen to the radio, that kind of thing. You know, tune yourself into all the information available. That's what good tracking, and that's what being in the bush is about. And really, I think it's not impossible that that young leopard would have caught perhaps a little mouse or a little bird or things like that. You know, Mum would have brought him something to play with as well. Sorry, I'm talking loud here. I'm very excited to see these leopards. We've got another vehicle next to us. Lex S, good friend of mine, one of my heroes as well. Great guy. He's got some guests here. Lex is one of those guys that I grew up reading books and things he'd done about. I always said, what an awesome guy. And then later on met him and became good friends. Like Stefan as well. You know, people that have carved out such an amazing background and experience in the bush. There goes the young one. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Getting feedback there to the age of this cub, putting it down to within a day or two. I like that. That's what's great about being on the vehicle. So many of you that actually know these leopards better than many people that work and live in this area. 7 months, 1 week. That's about as close as you can get. Just think, 7 months, where are we now? Let's find a way through here. March, April. End of April, 7 months. 6. This cub is 5 days younger than Ragnar. So we have an actual date there. Guys, if we have an actual date of his birth, that would be amazing to know. But I presume the date was in the last week or first few days of... Oh, they've got a kill as well! Yay, that's rad. Last week of September, first week of October, I guess, was the birth date. That's amazing. Can't believe this. How spoilt are we? What is that? That looks like an impala. Yep. And they've eaten most of it as well. I know Stefan and Scott and Brent were tracking this area yesterday, and they said there were fresh tracks. Stefan was explaining to me, he says it was so fresh. He was actually watching an ant line, drawing its little line through the tracks that they were following. Must have been close to this area. Because by the looks of this, I would guess that this kill was made probably night before last. Or yesterday morning. But definitely not longer ago than that, because they've eaten quite a bit of it. Yo, what a morning. Different leopard on kills. Hyenas. you would think we're in Sabi Sands, one of the greatest game reserves in the world for seeing big African wildlife. In fact, we know we are. Some of the best leopard viewing in the world, and we are really experiencing that today. Kathy, well noticed there the cub's eyes. You think it's quite light colored. Yeah, I mean leopards don't all have exactly the same eyes. They can go from a sort of a yellow to a green. I'm trying to remember, Mvula for instance has got particularly beautiful color eyes. Get them in an orange almost as well. It can vary quite a bit. I didn't particularly notice this cub's eyes being very light. Then again, I've also just been very excited about seeing them. I mean, I would have seeing them once the other day, I already felt very lucky. Seeing them twice like this, not only seeing them, but up in a tree, beautiful, with a kill sort of earlier, the way we spotted them sitting next to the road. Let's go have a quick look here. Kathy, yeah, he's got pretty light eyes. Might also be the light this morning. We've got sort of overcast, hazy conditions, and that might also play a role. I'm going to sit here for a little bit more, and then I want to go to the other side, get us on the other side from the leopard also for the light. Excuse me. You can see this young guy, very alert, looking around. Excuse me. I have a frog in my throat, it seems. He's eating again now. This young age, he's learning. Every day is a new adventure for him, and he's learned by now at least. When you've got a kill and you're up in a tree, you should be safe, but never forget, there could be a hyena around, could be lion around, could be other leopard around, so stay alert, stay aware.
Where did Shadow go, Pete?
She's to the left. That's partly why I want to move. I think I might actually move a little bit. As I said just now, keep in mind we are very, very lucky this morning. We've got 2 different leopard sightings. Q, the activity that we saw yesterday and continuing today, these 2 as well. So we are really spoiled for choice. I'm going to re-maneuver a little bit, find a different view. Also, hopefully that we can see Shadow, this young leopard's mum. She's there to the left of the other vehicle. Difficult to see at the moment. But for now, enjoy it with HT. You're going to have some leopard adventure that side and leopard adventure this side in a bit again. See you just now.
I just wanted to get a couple of shots in that position that he was in. He had his tail facing, his spinal column facing directly at us. He's come down the tree. He had a lovely morsel of meat over here. Here comes the hyena again. Q can't see it. There's a hyena coming to the right. Q's looking the other way. Hyena coming from the right of the screen. Here he comes. Here he comes. Hiding. Hiding. Lying really, really low. Hyena's flanking around the other side. Hyena has probably seen him. And now there could be some interaction. You've got Q sitting there. You've got a hyena coming in for a tasty little morsel. Q could go up this tree again. This is incredible, folks. Interesting how that hyena just didn't even chase him off or approach him. Is more interested in finding some little morsels of food. He knows he's got that kill up a tree, and there's nothing he can really do about that. But the hyena's fantastic sense of smell is allowing him to find potentially more little titbits, because it must have been a bit of a frenzy here last night when they came across that carcass. Hyena's moving off. Hyena's coming back now. Q's sitting stationary. About probably 10 meters, 15 meters in front of Q. The hyena's foraging, finding small morsels of food. About 30 feet in front of him. He's keeping a close eye. Hyena's coming a little bit closer. You can just pan across to the side there, VM, and show everyone where that hyena is. He's just foraging through there. There he is. He's coming around behind Q now. The interesting thing is he can pick up the scent that's up in the tree, but he can't find any more morsels of food. He's wandering off again, but Q knows that he's going to be around. That hyena is going to be coming around constantly, and yeah, it can't be the most relaxing situation for our boy here, but at the same time it's perfectly natural and perfectly normal. This is exactly what happens in the wild. This is raw and real and natural, and every animal that benefits out of this this kill that Q had is part of that food chain, is part of that very, very important ecosystem. Wow, super stuff. How spoilt are we? We've got Shadow and her cub, and Q, 2 leopards. This is a fantastic morning. Wow. So if you've got any questions, folks, please tweet us at #SafariLive, or you can question us at questions at WildEarth.tv. Sorry, I'll repeat that. You can send us an email and ask questions at WildEarth.tv. Be lovely to hear from you. Anything you like about what's going on. I know Pete's got Shadow and her cub, which is pretty special stuff as well. And I think they're up to some really, really interesting behaviours over there too. So I think this is one of the most loveliest mornings to be able to swap between cameras. Swap between our leopard and 2 other leopards. Go on. We've got leopards. This is leopard-tastic morning here on Wild Safari Live. Let's cross over to Pete and see what he's up to with those 2 beautiful creatures.
Well, one exciting leopard sighting to another exciting leopard sighting. Couldn't have hoped for more than one of these 2 things to happen today. To have so many choices is great. I believe that Hyena has been trying to get a bit of food, even if it's just a little snack here and there, getting bits and pieces. This is still the young cub up there, currently nameless. That'll change by Sunday. And then while he's eating, which is not really that much food left on that most of that impala has been eaten, but he's up in the tree, and his mother, Shadow, she's just taking it easy down here. On the right hand side there you can see her. Very relaxed, not too concerned, but obviously aware to her surroundings. I mean, anything might walk in here, like we just seen over with Q. It'll be kept pretty busy with all that kudu meat in the area from Q's kills, so I don't think they have to be too worried about hyenas, but you never know. Always have to be alert, always have to be aware. That's actually a great question, Judy. Never really thought about it that way around. You are in an area or a territory because of the high density of leopard in the area like Sabi Sands, as opposed to one that's maybe in an area where there's not many leopard. And that's quite an interesting way of thinking about it.
Station with Inquiry Sandy Beach, come in.
1,
Oh, sorry guys.
6.
Apologies for that radio, we're still trying to understand that one. I must just talk to them quickly. It's a game drive calling for it. Judy, we're going to get back to that question in a second. Standing by, we are inside the Slatina. If you can find our tracks where they turn off, just follow them into the north. Oh, he's coming down. Catrobactics, I think it's called. Gonna have to wedge himself a little bit. Beautiful. Do you know what, that question had me thinking actually. In a way, it's sort of like saying gonna have to wedge himself a little bit. Beautiful. Do you know what, that question had me thinking actually. In a way, it's sort of like saying my apologies for the radio beeping, but we have to get the other guys help to get in here as well. This is they help us. This is the great part about working together. It enhances all of our chances to find great wildlife. Let's just see, maybe there's a little bit of a play coming up. He might be stalking his mum. This could be beautiful to see. He's at that age where he's practicing hunting, and the best one to practice it with would often be his mother. So let's see what happens here when he comes closer to her. Oh, beautiful. She's looking around again, just making sure there's nothing to be worried about. He's looking the other way. Oh, this is so stunning. Mother and cub together. Look at the tail. I was touching her. Now there's another great sign of just how animals work together, more specifically how her mother cares for her cub. She let him eat first, and now she's heading up there, I presume, to go and eat herself. But only after he's had what he's wanted to eat. Beautiful. What a special window we're getting into the lives of leopard in the Lowveld. She was sniffing at the base of the tree there, presumably one or two little pieces of bone or skin that dropped down. She's She's looking, I think she's going to go up as well to get a bite or two. Okay, not. She's still smelling. Yep, looks like she's going to climb. Now she'll be quick about it. It'll probably be 1 or 2 jumps and she'll be there. Watch. Oh, magic. Just as well that Mum's up there now, because that carcass, or what's remaining of it, is sort of rather precariously balanced there. The youngster not quite having the experience yet of how to wedge the carcass in properly, so it could have fallen down, but I think she's going to obviously eat something, but also make sure that it stays up there.
There comes a hyena.
Oh, speaking of which, well spotted, Andrew. Look at that. Hyena coming in. Now, we've spoken about this quite a bit. All this apex predator activity. Leopard, and the fact that there's 2 male leopard around as well. And hyenas with their den right in the middle of Djuma. Therefore, we're getting lots of, especially hyena and other predator interaction. Look at that. Leopard up in the tree. Hyena underneath. And leopard saying, ha, knowing that he's fine up there. Hyenas aren't very good at climbing trees. In fact, they're really bad at it. So the leopard knows that she's fine. The cub is just off to the right. We can't see him at the moment, but again, he's quick enough to avoid the hyena. And the hyena's not here to eat a leopard. The hyena's here to eat food. So the cub should be fine. More than fast enough by now as well to avoid the hyena, but nonetheless. Whoa, whoa, you see, look at that. Whoa. Amazing. You see what I meant with the cub not wedging that kill? The hyena can just about reach that skin, so she might actually pull that down. There we go. Oh, it's going to get it soon. This is amazing. We just had the question a couple of drives ago, how high can a hyena jump? And that's about your answer there. But that's sort of the length of the body up from the ground. Not very good at jumping. And as we saw, not very good at landing on his feet either. You know, cats can land on their feet every time, but it seems hyenas can land sort of anywhere. Oh, got it. Payoff. Amazing. There's another hyena as well. 2 hyenas now. Now we're going to have them competing. Let me try and turn a little bit. See if we can't get a better view. As you see, this is what's so brilliant about live safaris. You really don't know what's going to happen next. But the good news as well, these leopard have had a good feed by now. It looks like almost 2 days on that carcass, if I had to guess it. So they're full. Not too much food lost there. Amazing. There's the youngster. I've actually lost view of where the young cub is, but he's just off here somewhere to the right. And as I said, the hyenas came for the food. Their attention is on that. Shadow is safe up in the tree. The hyena looking around at the bottom. This is the second hyena that arrived, so didn't get any of that food. And in fact, the one that took the food just took it, and as far as I can see, walked away, maybe even taking it back to the den. So we'll follow that story as well, maybe towards the end of drive if we can, see if this remains of the kill from Shadow and a cub have ended up with a hyena den.
I would say it's 300 meters
Oh,
thereabouts.
what a morning. Now I'm starting to think the same thing. Quite a few of you on the vehicle here just wondering, where is that cub? Let me give a quick update on the game drives. I actually switched my radio off, but we have to help them. Guys, I'm going to turn my radio off again just now, but just the update, I'm just noticing now, I think we're not too far from Aubrey's Road. So you can try and get us from Aubrey's Road side as well, and we will be to the west. Let's try and see if we can see where the young cub has gone. Not a bad morning. Alex, did you keep an eye on the youngster? He was there, but now he's gone. I'm sure he's just gone off a little bit to avoid the hyenas. I know many of you are concerned, but he is fine. You'd hear a lot of noise if he wasn't. There's the spotted hyena. Shadow up in the tree. We will find this youngster feed just now, but he's just making sure the hyenas don't see him. He's excellent, very well versed in avoiding the attention of other predators. Don't worry about that. He's fine. Very happy vehicle next to us. Lex and his guests are very keen photographers, and I think when that jumping was going on, I actually saw your vehicle move back with a recoil from all the shutters going. Sounded like sort of heavy artillery. Oh, guys, it's one of the joys for me in game drives like this, is to sit at these stunning sightings and just see the faces of the other guests here as well. Just big smiles, happy people. One of the sort of side joys of safaris. Alright guys, I can hear a few of you getting worried in the back here. Let's just try and find that cub for you so you don't have to worry, but I saw him just flashing off to the side, and keep in mind his key objective at the moment will be not to be seen by these hyena, which would then spin through to us not seeing him, but he's just somewhere here. Let's try and... Andrew, you spotted the hyena first, you were quick about it. Can you see him perhaps? Sorry guys, don't want to move around too much just with the other vehicle here, but let's try and get ourselves up to a high point here. Let's see, where is he? Promise you he's fine though, don't be concerned, but he's somewhere just here, just low down, hiding himself. So we are sitting with a very sensitive sighting, and we've still got the one hyena under the tree. Not that it's dangerous, but there's the hyena still. There's shadow up in the tree, and we also have a vehicle with us, so I don't want to move around unnecessarily at the moment, but we will do our best to try and find that youngster again just now. But he's fine, I promise you. He's just making sure he doesn't get seen, he doesn't get spotted, so to speak, by the spotted hyena. Lex, is that a game drive coming?
Yes.
I think we're close to Aubrey's, huh?
I think we are.
Yeah, I think it's probably just here.
Yes.
So maybe they just come north on Aubrey's. Alright guys, just trying to get another game drive vehicle that's looking for us. We're in the middle of the bush here. We were very lucky, very, very lucky to have found this leopard in the beginning next to the road. To get the information. Mike actually, for those of you that know the people around here, Mike from Juma found him and let us know via Brent. So the Bush Telegraph this morning worked incredibly well. All kinds of technology and social interactions and friendship actually getting us into this sighting. Very lucky that we could follow them. Otherwise, we wouldn't have even known about this. This would have come and gone without us even knowing about it. So we're just trying to help another game drive vehicle to come and share in this beautiful sighting as well. I know there's still some concern. I can feel a few of you being worried. I know that we've lost a few leopard even in the recent times to hyena. Keep in mind with Karula's case, it was a tiny cub still, or a young cub. This young male, which is yet to have a name, keep in mind Sunday at the fireside chat we're going to announce it. You can see on Facebook as well, we're mentioning you some questions that we'd like to get from you about a few subjects. But this young male, he's 7 months and 1 week old, and unlike human babies, these guys are quite active from young. 5 months, 6 months, 7 months. He's got a lot of experience by now. He knows how to hide. He's fast enough. He's quick enough. So even though we can't see him, he'll be fine. We will find him for you before the end of drive. So if you want to be 100% sure that he's fine, stay with us a bit longer. You know what, on days like this, I sometimes have almost like a sensory overload. Just in terms of how amazing it is. And I know I say this often, but unbelievable to think. We're sitting in the middle of the bush, Combretum thickets and a couple of marula trees around us. And there's this beautiful story, this great drama almost unfolding around us. And we're just so privileged to be able to sit right in the middle of it. And that's what's amazing about this area. Djuma, Sabi Sands, it's not just that you see the leopard, that you see the hyena, but it's the fact that they are so used to our presence, the cohabituation, the coexistence of our different species here. It's such a sort of peaceful level, if you want, that these guys can do whatever they were doing, whether we were here or not, would have made no difference. What Shadow was doing, what a cub was doing, what these hyenas were doing, all this behavior would have happened exactly the same, even if we weren't here. Bless you, Andrew.
Thank you.
So to not only be able to find them and see them, and not only have them relaxed enough that we can get close to them, but to have them so relaxed that their behavior is the same as if we weren't here. That really is the magic of this. You get to get a window into the daily lives of these animals. And that's priceless. Well, I think let's just see what's going on over at HT's side. He's also got some activity with the leopard, and we'll get back here again shortly to see what the hyena and the leopard get up to over here.
Beautiful markings on this boy, hey, look at him. That magnificent coat. And we're still with Q. We're just sitting here with him. He's had a few little altercations with hyenas, but it hasn't been anything dramatic. He went up a tree once and he's back down again. The hyenas are sort of periodically coming back and checking for any morsels that have been left over or that they've missed. They're constantly getting the scent of the remainder of the carcass as well in that he's put up in the tree. So quite frustrating for hyenas sometimes, I'm sure, but our friend here, Q, has got a very full belly, is trying to digest what he can and get a little bit of rest from these hyenas. So it's all action-packed here. What an incredible story. So if you've just joined us, welcome aboard, and just a little recap of what happened yesterday and tonight. Yesterday and last night. I think Pieter and Steph and Scotty found Q, and that was all.
Nick, do you mind if I go in front? Great, guys. Quick update from HT, but this female's just jumped down. The leopard has left. Thank you very much, very polite of Lex saying we can go ahead there. And let's just see, maybe she oh, she's right here, sorry. Just want to see if she maybe takes us to the youngster. For them to see as well. I'm sure she's going to find him now. He's just gone off in that direction. And this could be a fun game. It's called Spot the Young Leopard. For him, let's see, she might jump up on that log. Oh, that's going to be an awesome view. Look at that. She's looking for him. She's going to call just now. The hyenas have left. Maybe she's wondering as well, where's my little boy? What's he up to? Again, I can feel a few of you getting more worried. What happened? What happened to that youngster? I'm still convinced he's fine. We just can't see him. He's hiding. We'll have to try and spot him. But what a view of the shadow. This is one of the most beautiful settings I've ever seen her in. You can see that autumn background, the browns and the reds starting to come through a little bit. She's sitting on a dead marula log. Perfect vantage point. There's our Hyena back at the tree again. Oh, it's all happening. All happening right here. Wild Safari Live, as good as it can get. Better than one could hope for. There she's calling. That's her first call for him. Let's see if he listens. Lots of attention being paid. You can see the ears are listening in all directions. Look at how they're moving around like radars. There she's calling again. Still haven't seen him. I'm sure he'll respond to her. There is still a Hyena in the area, so not all the danger is gone. I wonder what's going to happen. Are we going to be in for another surprise this morning? Perhaps a drama. Although I'm inclined to think that we're going to be smiling, maybe a little bit relieved just now when we see them together. But at the moment, I don't know where he's hiding. I don't think she knows either, which is why she's looking, why she's calling. She's looking at the Hyena now. Leaving from the Hyena there. Where this youngster is. Yeah, she's keeping an eye on the Hyena. That's why she's moving away. Let's keep in mind the main focus of the Hyenas. They're not here to hunt leopard or to kill a young cub or eliminate competition. They were here for the food. If you want to just put you at ease, I wouldn't be worried too much. I mean, anything can happen, that we all know. But I'm sure that youngster is somewhere maybe just snuck away a bit further. Let's see, there's a couple of bigger trees that direction. Maybe they've gone there. Maybe watch this branch. Thank you. Let's take on this footpath. There's the two hyenas. Just to show you that back again. Just picking up the last little snippets and bits and pieces that might have been dropped at that carcass. Guys, as much as I want to stay with the hyena, I do want to stay with this leopard. I want to follow her. Now, leopard, as we all know, can disappear in the blink of an eye. In fact, I've almost lost her, but there, I've just got a glimpse of her. And we've got the cub. There he is. Great. Guys, you can breathe again. For those of you that were getting a little bit blue in the face from concern, just a deep breath. Cub's fine, mum's fine. They've got a belly full of impala. The hyenas have eaten it. That carcass story is gone. They've got the rest of the day to be happy cats, sleep off a full belly. We're going to stay with them and see where they end up. It would be great if we could see them again this afternoon. But just look at that. Mother and cub heading down a little footpath here. Oh, let's hope, let's hope. Up ahead here, there's a beautiful big tree and some dead logs, the kind of stuff that the leopard would love to play on, and I know any photographer would be happy to give his back teeth for to see a leopard on those branches. They might just walk past, but a young leopard like that, they like to play as well, and I think we're going to be in for yet another little treat here. Let's see what happens. Perhaps not, perhaps they're going to walk past. This is like a little jungle gym for leopard. still moving. Just want to stick with them. Thought they might settle down here. This would have been a nice, safe place for them. Lots of tree to climb into. But I think they also want to perhaps put a little bit more distance between themselves and the area that the kill was in, because obviously those smells will stick around and maybe draw the attention of other predators still, even though the food is left or the food is gone. So they're going to some thick stuff ahead here. We'll try and stick with him. I think we're not too far from Sandy Patch now. Let's see. Oh, hold on, big hole. Hold on, hold on. There you go, the leopard. Going. We're going to try and get around this, catch up to them again. That's alright. Alright, hold on. Andrew, avoid that. That's buffalo thorn. That's also buffalo thorn. This is one of the great extra uses of that lovely walking stick HD gave me. And you just avoid the left, and then you avoid this on the right. It's got something. Hey, okay, you good? Okay, guys. Alright, think we're through. Alright. Let's find the leopard again. Awesome, thanks HD. You just helped me get through that bush with that stick you brought me. They should be somewhere just here. Now this is the type of terrain that leopard can just disappear in like that, but let's see if we can find them. Watch out, Andrew. Buffalo thorn on the left. Somewhere just here, just here. Eyes wide open. Legs, my last visual was in towards the right into these quarries. Alright. We have lost visual of them. We're going to try and catch up with them as soon as we can. Critical that we don't lose them for too long. With every passing second that you don't know where they are, your chances of finding them again decreases exponentially. So let's see, let's see, let's see. Just in this patch where she last went into. There we go, brilliant. Lex, I've got them this side again. Just cut through to Sandy Patch and then take that little road going up to the Frankel Dam. Guys, where am I going? Hold on a second, we've got them, but we can't follow through where they've gone, so we'll just go around. There's a little road there, so I'm sure. Ah, great, there's another vehicle, Henry. One of the private lodges. I think they've got them as well, so we're good. There are the impala. The left-hand side that we're not going to stop for now. That's the herd, almost certainly the herd that they would have caught that one impala they were eating from. As I said, my estimate would be night before last, somewhere during the course of the night. Maybe yesterday morning early. There's an alarm call. I'll show you quickly. Look at the posture. We talked about it earlier with the kudu. There go the leopard. Ooh, difficult terrain. This just gets trickier and trickier, but I don't know if you can even see that. You can probably just see the little spots. I'm going to walk through there you go. Look at that for camouflage. Alright, now it's been a couple of years since I went into this particular patch, but I've been in there a few times. It is thick. Whew. So many different aspects to this. All of them great, all of them fun. It really does bring the sense of adventure to the foreground when you're doing this, following two beautiful leopard, thick bush, different animal species around. this is what it looks like. This is the terrain. Perfect place for leopard to hide in. Not the easiest of places to stay with him. Elephants have been very active here as well over the last while. That's where you can see all the pushed over branches, and they all become effectively roadblocks for us. Last place we saw them were just going through there in that direction. Oh, there we go, I've got a tail. I'm going to give a little window here just to see them again, and also just to make sure that everyone has seen the young one nicely. That's the, who's that now? That's Mum, that's Shadow, and behind her, following there, he's coming. The young man with no name. Yet.
That's quite a big smile.
Yeah, that's a good smile, guys. You know, this is... when you dream about things, this is the kind of stuff you dream about. At least in my case. Some people want to be an astronaut or a space traveler or a painter or all these things, fireman, you know, all these things people think of. Since I was a young boy, I've dreamt about seeing big game like this in wild areas like this, so I've got a big smile. There I just see the white tip of a tail again. This is very tricky terrain, as I said. We are going to try and stay with him. We are going to try and see where they end up, but for now we're not going to see too much. So I think join HD again. We've had a great morning. He has as well, and we'll see you back here in a bit.
Well, it's all happening this morning, folks. Unbelievable leopard action. At the moment, our boy's a little bit quiet. He's flat. He's just sitting up. If you want to just have a look at him now, but he's just sat up because he thought he might have heard Hyena coming, I think. We have had another vehicle arrive. He's gone back down flat again. So he's pretty comfortable at the moment, but still trying to digest that massive amount of food that he ingested last night. And just trying to protect that little bit of food that he has left up in the tree. It's not much. It'd be enough for him to have a bit more of a chow down on later on. But sometimes I like to think with leopard that they just like to show the hyena that they can do that, even if there's nothing left on the carcass. That's my own little thing that I like to think, that leopard just go, right, well, can't do this, I'm going to take it up the tree. It's quite incredible what they can do, but there's no way, as we mentioned a few times before, but if you've just joined us, probably 3 to 4 times his body weight, and he would never be able to get that up a tree. But the most important thing is he is still around and we're still with him, and he's sitting up, just keeping his ears open for any hyena that come back. One of the things I have noticed him doing as well is when he has been watching just for out of a hyena, whiteback vultures have been flying overhead, and he's been looking up and snarling at them and having a bit of a sort of vocalization at them, which is quite interesting to watch. Leopard, most predators, and you know, all predators actually have got no tolerance for vultures whatsoever, and even though they're just flying overhead, he had a bit of a snarl in the sky at them. But vultures play a huge role in the ecosystem as well, so really important for us to know that. I'm just going to take a couple of photos because he's looking right this way, folks. I'm about 10 feet away from him now. We've repositioned our vehicle, and just a nice angle that we're on here. So I just thought if you hear this clicking, you know what it is. It's just us taking a couple of nice images, and it's also allows us to get really nice ID pictures of him as well. Now, if he does look around, I want you to have a look at a particular identification mark that I think it was Chris on Twitter pointed out to me the other night. He's got like a pound, like a Great Britain pound sign just above his left eye. That's our interpretation of it, and Chris, thank you very much for that, because it is quite distinctive when it just sometimes takes someone to use their imagination and sort of pick something that stands out to them. And it's a really good ID for us. If he looks around, I'll point it out to you. It's just above his eye, his left eye. Now, I've taken a few images of it. I might tweet tonight or put on Facebook or something, but you do need those distinct markings because the scientific way to distinguish the individuals, the leopard individuals, is through the dot pattern on the last row. So what you're looking at now, you can see that last row of whiskers. There's three dots on the top there, on that whisker line, and there'd be another number on the other side. Sometimes you just cannot see those dots, so it's really difficult, but I always try and find just distinct markings. We like the landing strip on his tail, and those little equilateral sort of rectangles that go up at the base of his spinal column on his coat there. And now we've got the pound sign just above his left eye. So he's definitely not moving anywhere very quickly. If anything, he's just trying to cope. He's panting a lot more than one would think. It's not that hot at the moment, but he's just hot from getting up and down the trees all the time and eluding these pesky hyenas. But anyway, we'll stick with him for a bit, and we're going to cross over to Pete and see what Pete's up to. And don't worry, we won't be going anywhere. We'll see you just now.
Brilliant. Thick bush, but we found a little gap here again. They've just walked sort of past us through the thicket coming into this clearing. That's the young one, the male, and that's Shadow. Now, this kill they had was actually, you could almost say, into the area a little bit, or into the sort of territory of Shadow's mum, Karula. It is on the periphery of it, but if I had to say, are we in Shadow's area or in Karula's area at the moment, I would say we are in Karula's. So that would explain why they're covering so much ground. They're heading straight back towards her area again, which is behind the termite line in the distance. So I think that's what they're doing. They've had a kill, they've had a good feed. Now they are heading back sort of closer to the heart of our own area, which she doesn't have to worry about potentially being in someone else's home, so to speak. We're going to try and stay with them. There they go. Let's try and get around a little bit. Guys, I'm still on a visual if you want to follow in here. Hold on. Oh, look at that. This is little glimpses of them before they go into the thick stuff again. Business staying with them, but we like tricky business, especially when you have to do it while following leopards. Won't you me complaining? They've given us the best possible tools to do this. Guys, isn't it amazing what we're doing right now? Just think of it quickly. Right at this moment, you are sitting in all different parts of the world, right here with us in the African bush, sharing this amazing experience of a leopard and her cub, and view into their daily lives. I just want to wait for them to move. I've got to go over some dead twigs and stuff here, so I just want them to go away a little bit because I'm going to make a bit of noise. So you try and move in, let's call it in concert with them as well. As long as you're aware of what they're doing, what their objective is. They're not busy hunting at the moment. They're just covering ground to get back into our own area, so like a safe zone, so to speak. So little bit of noise won't affect them, but whoa, this is about, I think, no, this is as far as we can go. Okay guys, we're going to have to play quick here. I want to try and catch them on the other side, but this is now, Andrew, can I swing left in the back? Okay. Yo, this could become very challenging. We are going to try and catch up with him. They are covering ground and we've got a drainage line that's thick stuff between us here. We're going to go around. It's going to be a little bit of tricky driving. I think for now you can have a better time with HD. He's still got another leopard. We are spoiled for choice this morning. And we're going to try our best to catch up. We will see you back here before the end of drive, even if it's just for an update. See you just now.
So he's just looked over his shoulder here. You can see there's something. So he's just looked over his shoulder here. You can see there's something coming through the bush. He's got a much greater sense of hearing than we have. There's two vehicles here with me. There's Ephraim and Texan and their guests. But there's an incredible ability for the leopards to hear over our voices, and we're only talking very softly. You might hear the odd voice in the background. But he's looking down a complete different direction, and it's very interesting to note the senses, these acute senses of the Prince of Stealth. Is really, really apparent when you hear him. He hears something off in the distance, and you just think, what could that be? And sure enough, a hyena will walk through. But we don't know yet. He just had a really quick look around, and we may see a hyena appear at any second. Not really sure, but at the moment he's completely comfortable. He's got a little bit of the remnants of his yesterday's kill up a tree. I would have loved to have been a nocturnal creature last night, sitting in a tree watching what happened up here, because I think it would have been pretty hectic. There would have been that clan of hyena down there. He's just repositioning. And when we were down with them this morning, their bellies are very full, so they've had a good meal. But he's had a good meal as well, so he had a fantastic meal yesterday. There was an interesting bit of behaviour yesterday. He gorged himself probably more than he normally would have, just because he couldn't remove that animal in the size that it was. He couldn't move it to safer ground. Normally hoisting or wedging his kill up in a tree for later, which is that great advantage that the leopard have. He ended up just getting as much into him as he possibly could, because probability said that hyenas were going to be there any second or any minute. And sure enough, last night, I'll take you back later on and show you, not this morning's drive, but another time, and show you the remnants of what's left. There's nothing left at that location where he made that kill. So it's all been removed and consumed. I'm just going to swing up and show you the remnants of that kill in the tree. So that's to put it into perspective. That's where Q is, and VM is just pounding around, sorry. And it's a little bit too hard to tell the detail, but you can see there, it's a lot more skin than it is meat. There's still a bit of tissue left on the ribs there, and probably more than we can see. But he's definitely got a little meal for later on. I've got a nice question from Judy in Leicester. Hello, Judy, and welcome aboard. Great to have you with us this morning. Your question is how far am I away from Pieter at the moment? Probably about a kilometre, probably 1,000 metres north. That's where he is. And we still keep in contact with radio comms with each other, but I'm about probably 1,000 metres from Pieter, but I'm about 3 metres from Q. Thanks for your question, Judy. Fantastic to have you on board. So that panting action that you can see him doing there, you see a lot of animals do that when they're really hot. They're trying to cool themselves down. Dogs do it, cats do it. And what he's doing there is just bringing breaths of air over the shade of his tongue and panting. And that's what panting's all about, is cooling the blood down through the tongue. So the air flowing over it, that cool air flowing over the tongue, will keep that body temperature cool and cool him down. He's certainly had a good meal, that's for sure. Georgianne in Illinois, fantastic to have you with us, and thank you so much for your question. You're mentioning that the pound sign, which is a distinguishing feature above his eye. You also think that there's an upside down pyramid below each eye. I'm not sure if it's below or above. I'm just going to try and check it out. He's really not in a fantastic position for us to see that at the moment. Oh, okay. Okay, below each eye, you think, and it's a little bit tricky for us at the moment, but I'll tell you what, we'll definitely have a look when he puts his head up or he sits up. If he gets into a position where another hyena comes up, he'll definitely sit up quite quickly. But we'll definitely check that out. Thank you so much for your knowledge there and giving us that bit of info, because that's the sort of things, those little tiny bits of info help us ID these animals all the time. You don't always see the leopard front on with those whiskers. It's sometimes very difficult. So all these little fantastic interpretations from all of you help us out hugely. Thanks so much. We've got a question from Ellen in Arkansas, and Ellen is asking whether the remnants of the kill in the tree will be eaten by vultures and other birds of prey. Well, there's a potential for it, absolutely, but at the moment there's no way in the world they'd come anywhere near it. One of the funny things is that these animals, I'm just trying to direct another person in, I'm sorry Ellen, that as I do that, and I don't mean to be rude there, I was just getting asked for a direction. Birds of prey are incredibly skilled at seeing remnants of kills and things like that, but the funny thing is about vultures is they're very skittish. They do not come in boldly at all. It's a very interesting situation. They will hang back until the time is right, and once one flies down, then they all start to fly down. But it's a really interesting thing to watch vultures hang all in the trees for such a long time. I can see some way off in the distance there. We might come across them. Just trying to pick one out in a tree for you now, but I can't see them. That's not going to just look like a little black dot in the horizon. So to answer your question, yes, they possibly will, but they won't at the moment, Ellen, because Q is right on point, and any of them came near it, he'd give them a very, very good fending off. Thanks so much for your question, Ellen. So folks, I think it's been a pretty incredible morning for us. We've had beautiful hyena sighting the first thing, incredible behaviour, and the whole story unfolded last night. We've tried to put it all together. I'm going across to Pete to say farewell. We've got leopard on both cameras. We've got leopard-tastic morning for you guys with hyena thrown in. We'll come back to you this afternoon. Please join us again for the sunset drive here on Wild Safari Live. We'll see you just now. Over to Pete.
Well, what an exciting morning. It really has been very exciting, and we've got a couple of minutes left, and we might have a last bit of excitement. We followed her after that thick stuff that she went in. We went around, but it's this little sort of drainage line network of bushes and trees and holes and very, very tricky terrain. Perfect leopard terrain. And the best bet actually was to come and sit here. We're on one of the main roads, sort of quite a big gravel road, and using this as a boundary, myself and Andrew will keep a close eye out and see if she crosses. My gut feeling is that she would keep moving. I mean, she could settle down in here as well. This is a perfect place to spend the rest of the day. But, as I said, she's on the periphery of her territory, and I don't think she wants to stay on the edge of it. She wants to move back into her sort of safe zone, into her territory. And that's what my feeling is, that she's going to come out. But if not, we're going to sit here a bit even after the drive, just see if she pops out. And if she doesn't, we'll go back in and have a look, because I would love to see her this afternoon. And I think the only thing I'd like more than that is for HT to see her this afternoon as well. I know that he would enjoy that very much. So, yeah. I think I'm going to say goodbye. Keep a very close eye on the background, because there might be a leopard. Not there might be. There are two leopards there. We might see them. But otherwise, it's been a stunning morning. Leopard everywhere. Very sort of typically Sabi Sands day, and I must say, I don't complain. It is stunning. Thank you very much for joining us here in Africa for the live drive, for the live safari, and we look forward to seeing you this afternoon, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, 3 o'clock Central African Time. We're going to be out there again. From myself, Pieter, thanks so much for joining us. It was awesome. Bye-bye.